And then those who covertly created the problem got the public reaction do something, then openly, through changes in legislation, offer the solutions to the problems they have themselves covertly created. And what are those solutions? They are changes in society to advance the Orwellian Big Brother state and the centrally controlled global agenda. At the 33rd level of Freemasonry, of the Scottish Rite, that's the highest official level, they have a motto, Ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. Problem, reaction, solution. You try manipulating harmony, very difficult. You try manipulating chaos, piece of cake. They want chaos.
Well, if you're navigating, it is also important to realize where you are on the planet. And with respect to 33 1/3, is something very interesting about that, because 33 latitude and 33 longitude, both above and below the equator, are only touching one place on this planet, on actual terra firma. And I looked into this with a little bit more scrutiny, because our modern longitudinal line, based on the Greenwich meridian, was only installed in 1884 during the Global Meridian Conference. Alan Chester Arthur was the president at that time. People from all over the world came to New York and got together to figure out where they were going to put the prime meridian. This is the Paris meridian, and it was established hundreds of years longer than the Greenwich meridian. The Knights Templars, the Crusaders, they would measure the Earth by this line, not this line. Latitudinally, it's a no-brainer. 33 1/3 has always been right here, unless, of course, we've been knocked out of our kilter in orbit. But pay special attention to this little place right here, because it is a mountain that's been recorded from antiquity as a place where something extraordinary happened, the most extraterrestrial-like situation you can talk about from history. 33.33 goes perfectly through one of the 3 peaks of Mount Hermon. It's distinguished by 3 peaks in all the literature, and exactly through 33.33 here by the Paris meridian, which is also called the Rose Line. And this is what happened here. It's the Book of Enoch, goes into detail, much more detail than the Bible does about it, and because it's an extra biblical text, sometimes it's not held up with much esteem. But there are a lot of things it has to say that the fraternities of the illuminated groups across time have paid special attention to. And it says that when the sons of men had multiplied in those days, beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. It's Genesis 6. And the watchers, sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the daughters of men, and let us beget ourselves children. And they descended to the peak of Mount Hermon.
There's going to come a time, and it ain't too long from now, when we're going to have to look our children in the face, in the eyes, and we're going to have to answer the question without blinking and without averting them. What were you doing, Daddy, Mummy, Granddad, Grandma, when the fascist state came in that now controls every facet of our lives, including our thoughts? What were you doing when it came in? Now, for what, all my ills and all the rest of it, I won't have to blink. How many other people will be trying to look the other way? We have a chance now, still, not to be in that position.
So the biggest issue in this transformational point in the changing face of time is the reduction of stress. Illness in the emotional, mental, and physical self starts with unresolved conflicts that create stress, or the inability to be in control of events, or the continuous repetition of a monotonous, mental, unfulfilling spiritually of a mechanism that you do every day. Going to work. You know, why did dentists kill themselves? They have one place to be, one monotonous, always instilling fear and pain in a person, and no way to create because they are on a certain budget. They got to get in and get out and get it done. and there's no real thanks except a pretty smile. And they kill themselves. So stress.
Now, what I've found, you make yourself sick. You may not believe it, but you're the one that gives yourself the illness, the disease. If you're that powerful that you can make yourself ill, you're also powerful enough that you can take it away.
To live in this world is an opportunity that you were earned to be able and to create and to hold a spiritual consciousness through some really turbulent times to come. You wouldn't be sitting in this room if you weren't ready. You're sitting in this room because you're getting another piece of data to be able to make decisions upon as you move forward in this world that is coming, the changing face of time. In our lifetime, we will bear witness to a cosmic event in the beginning of an age. It has upheaval, it has changes, it has great shifts and great perspectives, and some of it is a little frightening.
You will go through many, many relationships. You'll go through many, many experiences. Sometimes they take years. Sometimes they take months. And suddenly you'll be faced with what for you is the most tremendous challenge of your life. When that happens, what I will say to you is congratulations. In the amassing of the tools, that experience is not possible until you know that you have everything you need to gracefully move through that time in your life.
There's nothing wrong with what is going on. Nothing. It is precisely, exactly what we want to have happen. We want all of these power elite to be exposed to the concept of ethics. And who has all that power? Is it Bush? Is it Caesar? We have.
There are only two emotions that humankind experiences: fear and love. All other emotions branch either directly or indirectly from these two emotions. Fear has a long and slow frequency vibration to it, while love has a very rapid and high frequency. To show that vibration is the very foundation of existence, Hans Diener developed what is known as cymatics in the 1940s to show that when vibrations of sound are passed through a form of media, there is a set pattern that will follow. When the frequency increases, the media develops into a more complex pattern. This is precisely what is happening to our Earth and to humanity. There are 64 possible codes of amino acids in our DNA structure made from 4 elements: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. By any means of logic, we should have all 64 codes activated within our DNA structure. Yet we presently only have 20 active codes.
We have 64 possibilities. 64 possibilities. And of these 64 possibilities, it appears that only 20 of these codes are turned on right now for us. The 20 amino acid touches where it crosses this double helix is what determines where the site is that code will either be turned off or turned on. If we're going to have an antenna at this site, it will only be turned on if the wave of emotion crosses this this double helix. Well, this is really interesting for us because two things. First of all, the waves of emotion, researchers have determined that you and I are primarily capable of only 2 emotions. Many derivatives of those emotions, and 2 primary emotions: fear and love. Fear and love. Well, fear is a long, slow wave of emotion. So this wave of fear is a long, slow wave and touches relatively few sites on this DNA. So an individual living in fear is limited to the number of antennae that they have available to them. Whereas an individual living in the pattern of love, this is love in DNA. You can see it's a higher frequency, shorter wavelength. We have many more potential sites for coding along that genetic pattern. This information, this is amazing. This is the first time we've ever had a hard digital link between emotion and genetics. And what we're saying is this, that the way you interpret and perceive emotion in your lives directly, linearly affects and determines how your body responds genetically.